Hi everybody, my name is Dr. Stéphane, also known as Dr. Awesome. Welcome to this Winspiration Day. The producer of this day asked me in order to join this process because we both believe in the same thing, that we are self-healing individuals. In order to achieve success, in order to achieve health, and have all you want, desire, and needs in your life, well, you need to have the proper understanding, but having the proper tools and strategies in order to get there. Kind of makes sense, right? So if you want to make a cake, well, if you want a cake right now and you don't have the flour or the water and the eggs or the baking powder and so on and so forth, all those little ingredients, well, even though you want to um, bake a cake, it ain't gonna happen. So today, my goals are very easy. I want you guys to feel supported. I want to inspire you in order to achieve whatever you desire and be successful and healthy. And I want to empower you today. So I'm very excited because part of my mission in life is to empower people and to bring them into the essence of their innate ability to self heal, but also create a better day. So, in order to talk about what we're going to talk about today, in order to inspire you, to give you tools, and that is my main mission in life, is to be able to not just talk about a concept, but also give you strategies and tools that you can do at home. I want to just bring back one concept that everybody knows, which is the law of gravity. The law of gravity states that it's the Newton law that states that whatever go up need to come down, right? So the universal gravitation state that a particle attract every other particles in the universe with a force which is directly proportional to the product of their mass. Well, it's all fancy, but what it states is if I get an apple and or a bowling ball and I have a feather and I throw them in the air, one's going to come back on the ground faster than the other one because of the law of attraction. However, in order for this to be really working, well, you need to understand the principle of the law of attraction, and you need to have all of that recipe in place. What do I mean? Well, right now, if you are at home or wherever, you can take two objects, and I can take this bottle of pill and that remote control and throw them, and I will experience the law of gravity. However, Brian Cox, back in 2014, on BBC, produced a show, and what he did is he took a bowling ball and a feather into a big, gigantic room, and he let them fall, and he measured the time and speed that one compared to the other was going to reach the floor. After that, they vacuum all the air out, creating a void inside of that room, and they recreated that experience. And what they found out is by removing certain particles, right? The air was vacuumed out, the bowling ball and the feather achieve or reach the ground at the same time. Well, that was done on Earth. That was done with the gravity of Earth. So how come by removing one ingredient, the law become then obsolete? Well, and that is the same thing with all the laws. And what I would like to propose today is I would like to go through a series of laws that you might know, might not know, and define them and to give you the tools that I've been using in my life. So I'm the owner of a holistic center. I've been through a bunch of health challenges. I've been through a bunch of mental challenges, and I've been reframing my belief system in my life in order to be successful now. So I'm an author. I was featured with Bob Proctor, Louise A., Wayne Dyer, Deepak Chopra, Joe Vitale, just to name a few. And how that I achieved this is part of what I would like to tell you today and instruct you. Part of those tools. All right. So let's dig in. You probably know about the law of attraction. Most people that are watching probably at least saw The Secret. The law of attraction states that we attract people, places, things, circumstance in our life in direct proportion of what we want, what we need, or what we desire. So if I desire a big house, and this is a deep desire inside of me, and this is a deep want, well, eventually what's going to happen is people's going to be coming into my life if we pay attention, if we listen and we look at the clues, right? That's going to have big house, or that's going to be realtor, and that's going to know people who has big house for sale or has the money or XYZ. Now, one thing that I've learned, and that's one of those tools that I would like to teach you about the law of attraction, is in order for you to attract your wants, your desire, well, you need to have the perfect recipe. And what I've learned in the past is even though you desire, let's just use the same example, that big house, well, if in the back of your mind you don't have the money for that big house, well, you're going to have in the back of your mind a little voice in your brain saying, well, but we don't have that the money. I know you want this, but that's not feasible. That's not part of reality, and so on and so forth. So I would like for you to invite you to read a book by Greg Braden, Braden. Fantastic man. And the book that he wrote was The Lost Mode of Prayer. In essence, what he say is the secret for the law of attraction reside into three things. One is the thoughts that you have during that demand or your desire, the emotion that is attached to it. So if you desire a big house, but the emotion is a lack because you don't have the money in order to get this, well, it's not in congruence, and we're going to talk about this a little later on. And so we need to have a clear focus, a clear picture of what it is, and the feeling attached to it. So the emotion is what I called your barometer in life. So if you're not in sync with the direction you're going because your emotion are not geared towards it, well, then you're not going to attract whatever you want. So one of the tools that I've learned with the law of attraction is Kevin Trudeau taught me this many years ago, is in order to be able to attract what you want, you need to be able to be into a life that can generate this. Meaning you need to have routine in place to be able to attract. So if one day you want a big house and the next day you're frustrated, well, then the law of the universe, which we're going to talk about later on, and the law of reciprocity, which we're going to talk about, then is kind of deleted if we use a computer language. What he taught me was every day you read inspirational books. So you don't need to read the entire book. You can read one sentence, you can read a paragraph, you can read a few pages, but you need to read. Your brain needs to be stimulated. The other one is if you cannot read or it's hard to read, well, you can listen to audiobook, an inspiring audiobook. So you have some on Hay House that I use a lot, and so all of those that are behind me are majority from Hay House. But you also have the audio version, which is fantastic. So one thing that I've learned from Tony Robbins is when you have downtime, so when I drive to work, well, during that period of time, which can take 20 minutes, instead of listening to music, well, I can put an audio book to set me up into that state of wanting and attracting, right? So that's a good tool. The other one is visualization. So you can visualize what you want every single day, and you can rewatch The Secret, right? So the other law that I would like to talk about is the law of creation. The law of creation states that whatever we think about or focus on grows on into our reality. So whatever you think about will be projecting in our reality, which is kind of like the law of attraction. But if you are the one thinking about something specifically, then you are creating your today, you're creating your tomorrow. So we create the situation we think about throughout the day. We think, if you think that you will succeed, then you will. So one of the tools that I use in the past in order to have a grasp on the law of creation is Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. And I think I'm going to talk about it a little bit later also, but that's a good one. So what I do for the law of creation personally is when I wake up, instead of watching the news or watching Facebook on the phone or LinkedIn or whatever that is. Well, I take the time and I close my mind and I go through what I'm going to be doing today in creating the atmosphere, the ambience, the what I would like to not only feel but see and experience. So if I wake up and I close my eyes, I say, well, now I'm going to have to go to work. So what I would like is now I'm feeling my cup of coffee. I love coffee. So I'm feeling the cup of coffee. And now I'm going to get dressed and now I'm going to drive and I'm going to put an audiobook. Which audiobook? Well, today I would like to feel empowered. I would like to have energy. Why? Because I want to serve as many people into my center and help people heal themselves and get through whatever they're going through. Either autoimmune disease, cancer, pain in the neck, headaches, whatever that is, right? So, but now I'm also visualizing how many people I'm going to be seeing. Am I going to see 3? Am I going to see 10? Am I going to see 20? I'm going to also think and visualize that the phone's going to ring a lot, that I'm going to have interesting conversation that's going to motivate me, and I'm going to be laughing. I love to laugh. And I'm going to be tickling my patient. Well, part of what I do is chiropractic. So by doing the adjustment, I have the opportunity also to tickle the patient and to make a couple jokes. Oh, which joke can I make? Oh, I can make this joke or I can make this joke, and so on and so forth. And what it does, it put me in a good mood, right? Just by thinking about it, I already had the smile. So I already am in a good mood by thinking about it, and that energy will be transferred into my today, and that visualization, that empowerment, that creating your day that I did at the beginning of the day, it's going to be in the subconscious mind somewhere, and it's always going to be reflecting. So as soon as I'm going to step in the office, that's going to kick in because we manifested or we talk about it, and now the brain's going to be like, oh yeah, we kind of saw the staff taking a lot of phone calls, and oh yeah, we saw this patient on the massage chair because we have a massage chair, and yeah, we saw this, and now everything every time those visual input at the office, for example, for my own life, it's going to happen. Well, that's going to trigger the excitement that I had at the beginning. So that is a good tool. And we're going to talk about also a little later on about the power of the brain and what the brain, how you can use the brain into your advantage. It is very powerful. So let's move on. The next one is the law of controlling your own life. It states that if we are not specifically controlling our own life and creating the circumstance necessary to meet our desire, we will become an instrument for others to which they will control their own life. So in essence, others will use us to meet their own mission and destiny. So technically, since we have the law of attraction and we have the law of creation and we have the capacity to tap into that quantum physics that is surrounding us, which quantum physics that state that as soon as you observe something, everything collapses into what you want, in essence, based upon your concept of the universe, based upon the concept of your reality, based upon your feeling and your thought. So if you're thinking that you procrastinate here and there, and eventually you become a procrastinator, your identity of procrastination is then becoming you. So then your thoughts are procrastination. So then you will just manifest procrastination, and then you will not be able to control your life because the thoughts and belief of procrastination will then control you. and other people that are doing the work and the self-empowerment, and hence why you are here, will take advantage of this, and they will bring forth in their life the new belief, the new concept, the new reality, the new day. And since that person's going to be in that procrastination mode, it will attract that person in order to fulfill their mission. I don't know if that makes sense. But obviously, we don't have too much time today, and all of those concepts are hours of materials that I can go through on either personal or group setting. I really love to teach in groups, so I'm trying to reduce that information for you so you can have the best opportunity for that time that we have. Make sense? So, a tool for controlling your life. Well, the first thing that I really love is a journal. If you write down on a journal on a daily basis, or you can also use your phone, right? If you feel negatively or something is just not right, well, you just use your phone or your journal and you write it down. And at the end of the day, what you can do is two things. One is you reflect on the emotion that you felt, or the situation that happened that was not perfect, or you can reflect on something that you did not write about, obviously, and just think, how can you do it better if you were in complete control of your life? Because now you're thinking about the past. You cannot change the past. So, but you can reflect on the past, because the past is wisdom. It is knowledge that is there that you can use for the next step, for today or for tomorrow, to be a better person. So at the end of the day, you look at your journal, you look at your phone, and you're like, all right, I felt XYZ according with this situation, with this person, and so on and so forth. If I was the producer of my own movie and I had to take that scene and I was in complete control of that movie scene, how could I have made it better? What thing could have said that would have changed my emotional outcome, but also the outcome of the day? What could I have done differently that would have also changed the outcome of my own feeling, but and also the outcome of that day? So that is a very, very, very powerful trick. And I call that part of that, I call that upgrading the brain. And that's something that I'm teaching also. And the concept, which I will talk about in the law of belief later on, is just the fact that if something happened in at your life, at one point in your life, you're going to react based upon the wisdom, which is the past, of what you've learned. So if you never experienced an explosion in your bedroom or in your study room, so I'm in my study room right now, so I never had an explosion before, but let's just say that for the first time in my life, something over there is exploding. Well, my brain automatically is going to go into the past 40 years of my life, any situation that kind of remind me of that explosion, that had big noise and so on and so forth, and my brain's going to go into those tools and strategy to stay alive. Well, sometimes the bomb could be just a slap in the butt, could be somebody flipping you off while you're driving, it could be anything, but your brain is going to go into that past and try to filter, kind of like a file system, and it's going to go into, is anything that is happening now happened in the past? What have I done in order to survive or mitigate to the situation that put me into a better emotional state than what it is now? If I'm in fear, I don't want to be in fear all the time. So I need to have tools and strategies in order to get away from this. So coming back into the law of controlling your own life, well, if you take a step on the today and you write down all of the good and the bad and whatever is going on, and you reflect on that day and you ask yourself, if you're the movie producer into your life and that scenario will happen again, what can I do? How can I act? What can I say that could be different and that will lead me to a better outcome? And eventually what's going to happen is your brain's going to store them as tools and strategy as potential things to do or say. And when that event might happen, not the same, but something similar might happen, then the brain's going to go into, Well, I have this possibility, this possibility, this possibility, this possibility. Well, we already reflected on those one, and by reflecting on those, well, the brain, we all agree in our own mental discussion and internal discussion that if we use this one, we might feel different. So the brain, in a split of a second, is going to trigger and goes to this one, and then you're going to be able to create a better day, control your life, and attract better situation, event, and people in your life. Kind of makes sense? So let's move on into the next law. Next law is the law of relaxation. So it states that with physical law, the harder we work, the more is accomplished, right? One kind of makes sense. So if I'm a builder and I have a hammer and I have nails and I have a bunch of woods and I have an unlimited supply, more than I'm going to work, more houses, as an example, I'm going to be able to build. Well, in the mental law of the law of relaxation, the more we relax, believe, and expect to succeed with ease and confidence, then the better the result. So I prefer to call this law the law of surrendering. To surrender to the possibility. And when you surrender, you are more free. You're less stressed. You're more apt to relax. So bringing back Napoleon Hill, what he said in Think and Grow Rich is we need to think 80% of the time and do 20% of the time. However, if you're going to be thinking 80% of the time and you want to attract better, you want to create a better life, right? And you want to control your life, well, you will need to think about positive thoughts, visualize positive things, seeing yourself into a better mood, seeing yourself into a better relationship, and so on and so forth. And the best tool that I got for this law of relaxation is meditation. This one is very powerful. So I met with Dr. Dispenza. You probably know Dr. Joe Dispenza back in 2016. And we had a big seminar. I think that was the progressive seminar. He has like a series of 3 now, which 2 are online. So it's easier for you to learn that process. In other words, what he's been through is at the age of about 24, if I can use him as an example, he was rear-ended when he was doing a bicycle. So he was doing a triathlon. He got rear-ended by somebody, and he fractured 6 or 7 vertebrae. I don't remember the accuracy of the story. But to make a story short, he denied 3 surgeons that say you will need to have surgery. He went home and he laid on his belly for about 3 months, and he remembered in his chiropractic training that the body has the ability to heal itself. Meaning that if I cut myself, if I put a band-aid in Neosporin, the band-aid is not the one who's going to heal me. It's not the Neosporin. It's not going to be the lotion, the potion, and so on and so forth. It's going to be your entire body. Your body has the ability to heal itself. And that's the same thing on the inside. And he did the same thing with 6 vertebrae. So every day, he went into his internal state and he did the meditation and he visualized and he created his own day that the body will be able to self-heal and to reform the vertebra, take the bone, the chip that is around the spinal canal away, resorb this and heal itself. Well, it took 3 months. It was not easy, he stated, but it took 3 months. And he was able to get up and he was able to heal, and now he's teaching this methodology to millions of people. So last time I saw him in 2016, he was saying in his seminar that he gathered with everybody that he's been teaching that 8,000 plus diseases are now being cured by meditation alone. Well, let's think about it. Why would you, if you meditate, cure disease 1, 2, and 3? What is that process? Well, meditation is a state where you're quieting your mind. You shut down the monkey or the hamster rolling there, so you're taking all of your thoughts away. So you're doing what? You're relaxing and surrendering to your mind. So if meditation cure 8,000 disease, then the link is that whatever is going on in between those 2 years has the potential to also create those diseases, right? So meditation will help you with the law of relaxation. Within the meditation, you will be able to also create your day and also attract what you want, desire, and be successful, and also obviously heal your body. But maybe you don't know how to meditate. Well, the easiest way that I found how to meditate is you allow about 5 minutes in your day when you start, and you are quieting your mind. You don't think about anything. You just close your eyes and think about nothing and focusing on the blackness that the eyelid provide you. And you don't bring forth image, you just focus on the blackness. You set a timer, put it there, 5 minutes. Did you do it? Was it successful? Were you able to not think, not visualize anything? No? Then you need to set aside another 5 minutes today until you are able to do that 5 minutes. Then eventually that 5 minutes is going to grow to 6, to 10, to 20, to an hour. Well, some days, and I will be frank with you, some days I'm not able to sit still for an hour. Or I wake up at 5 a.m. or 4 a.m. and I want to meditate, but the body is not feeling good. So what I do is I use tools, and you have a bunch of tools that are available. The one that I prefer, it's called Brain Tap. It's a device that you put on your head, so it had some headphone. It has a visual lid right here, so it's going to flash light and has light and has some sound. And I use my phone with an app, and it's going to have a person talking, or sometimes I use Dr. Dispenza meditation, and he is guiding, or the person is guiding me to it, so that way I can focus on them and let go of my worry, let go of my to-do list, and so on and so forth, so I can bring that relaxation mode. And eventually in the meditation that I'm doing, I have a room where I can create my day and also visualize whatever I want and bring the emotion of gratitude, which we will talk later on about in the law of gratitude. Good. Next law is the law of reciprocity. The law of reciprocity states that whatever we see in the universe see us. Whatever attitude, feeling, thoughts, desire that we put out, regardless if they're good or bad, positive or negative, will always return to us. And this one is very, very, very good. So what I like to do is when I wake up each day, I plan a feeling that I want. So if the universe is going to mirror back whatever we think, whatever we feel, whatever we want, well then if you start the day by already be in the state of, okay, if I feel this today, this is what I'm going to get back. If I want this, this is what I'm going to get back, and so on and so forth. Well, if you start the day with a feeling of, let's say, acknowledgement. Today I want to feel acknowledged for XYZ reason. Well, the first step is, how would it feel when you feel acknowledged? Oh, it's going to feel exciting. I'm going to be laughing. I'm going to be like, oh, thank you, or whatever you feel like it. And how would I like to acknowledge somebody? Well, the first thing is now I'm going to go through my creation of the day, and I'm going to acknowledge my staff, acknowledge the other person that I work with, acknowledge my patient, acknowledge my family, acknowledge my kids. And that way they will also do the same thing, because if you do something, it reverses back. So they did a great study, and it just popped in my mind. They had a bunch of monks that they went to the airport, and what they did is they wanted to have a donation. So what they did is they had roses, and they were giving roses for people for no reason. Like, here's a rose, bless your heart. And what that trigger is that giving brought back the giving to those people, and they were able to get donation back. So this tool is very good. The law of reciprocity. If you do good, good's going to come to you. If you feel gratitude, gratitude is going to come back to you. If you If you feel and you want money, money is going to come back to you, right? And again, if we talk about money and physical things, well, I'm going to bring back Craig Brading in the Lost Mode of Prayer. You need to have the three tools. You cannot want money if you feel depleted, and if your bank account is empty, and if you want more, if you have debts and so on to pay, right? So you need to be in harmony with this. Next law is the law of the universe, or the law of karma. Like the law of reciprocity, which deals with the mental factor of everything, the law of karma deals with the physical manifestation. The law may affect our personal belonging, physical health, and financial status. It works positively or negatively depending on what we put into the universe. Right? So it's kind of like the other one. So we just need to understand that this one, the law of the universe, work mainly on physical aspect, while the law of reciprocity is mental and emotion. So that's the little difference there. You also have the law of return, which is our rewards in life, or directly our money, harmony with the value of our product, service, ideas, and emotion. And the tools that I love for the law of return is the book from Stuart Wilde, Wilde, called The Little Money Bible, The 10 Law of Abundance. And inside of that book, which is a very tiny book, and it's worth it, what he gave you is an exercise to tap into the law of return. What he states is whatever goodness we do in life that are free, that we don't demand anything, that is pure-hearted, that you decided to help somebody cross the road, you gave money for somebody, you helped move somebody, all of those actions compile in the law of the universe as a token, and now you can ask this money, you can ask those token at as money back. So what he said is you write a letter to the universe. Dear universe, my name is Stéphane, or Dr. Awesome, and I've done this, I've done this, I've done this, and my intent was pure and so on, and I would like to have these token and that in cash value immediately. And the first time I've done that, I wanted money, obviously, and I want it right away. Running a center can become expensive, especially when you have multiple expense, that is the rent and so on and so forth. So at that time when I read the book, I had to be able to pay the rent and so on and so forth, and I was short of a little bit of money. And I did this the law of return. And the next day when I came to the office, I was thinking about it. I was creating the day, and we received a phone call. And we received a phone call, and that told us that we were going to receive money from a personal injury. Well, we do chiropractic, so if you go into a car accident, chiropractic is very useful. But the money that is involved can take months for the car insurance to pay us. And the same day, I got another big check for another accident. So that was fantastic. So I received it immediately. Check it out. The Little Money Bible, The 10 Law of Abundance by Stuart Wilde. Very good. Next law, the law of substitution. The law of substitution say it's consciously substitute all negative thoughts with positive one immediately upon experience the negative thought. We can only experience one thought at any given time. By substituting the positive thoughts from the negative one, only the positive thoughts is then recorded into our subconscious mind. So we think every day, good or bad. As soon as we acknowledge that we think of a bad thought, you stop, you put something good there, and then the subconscious write this, and then you move forward. A great tool that I've learned from one of my great mentors, Tony Robbins, is to change our wording. So like I said earlier, is you can look back in your day and look at what words you use the most. So what example did he use? He said he used to always use anger and angry word and frustration. And what he decided to do is said it bring anger to I'm angry to I'm frustrated. So it has less weight emotionally to I'm peeved. So I use that, and instead of going into peeve, what I said is, I'm tickled. So when I go into those emotional stress, I go into, you know what, I feel angry, but I don't want to angry, a frustration, peeve. Actually, I'm tickled. And by thinking tickled, I'm substituting that word. I feel like I giggle. I'm like, well, then it's not worth it. And I just move along. So you have the capacity to change your own wording, which will change in return your physiological state, which is going to make you giggle if you use tickle as an example, but it's going to be less pressure. So if you're really angry and you substitute that by really peeve, now you're like, well, then that's not too bad. And your body is going to change, and your your body response is going to change. So now you're not going to put a lot of emotional stress within the body. And the body will store those emotions, so it's very important to lessen them and substitute not only the feeling but words. I really like the words. Next law is the law of present time consciousness. I state that it is important that we live in the present as opposed to tomorrow or yesterday or the past. Preparing for tomorrow with righteous living and positive thoughts prepare us for what we manifest. That's the law of creation. So you can think about the tomorrow or think about the future, which is okay. However, what is happening now at this moment, it is what is important. And we need to live in the now. And the best tool is Edgar Tolle, The Power of Now. You need to go read it. It is fascinating. It just speaks for itself. Just buy the book. It's amazing. Next law is the law of clarity. The clarity of our mind and our thoughts are in direct proportion to the physical clutter in our life. What that means is if you have confusion of what's going on, if your brain and your heart are not in coherence, which we'll talk about it in the law of compassion, if they're not in alignment, then it's triggering a confusion state not only into your thinking and your feeling, but in your body. 90% of all the disease, according to David Simons, MD, but also in my own experience health-wise, are unresolved emotional hurts. So every time you're experiencing an emotion and it's a negative emotion and you don't do some of those laws and those tools that I just told you about on those strategies, well, what happens is your body get those imprint. The example that I like to use is, let's say that you're driving your car. If you're driving your car, you mind your own business, and now you're singing, and so on and so forth, and now you look in the rear view mirror and you see the cop. Your reaction will be, oh shit. But that physical compression and feeling is going to store that emotion. So we store unresolved emotional hurts. And if that is stored and you don't have a clarity of what was going on and what is going on at the moment, this is going to bring forth from the subconscious inside of your life in creating illness and creating also more confusion. And now you're going to go back to rabbit hole of I'm not successful, I don't have money, I don't have a relationship, and so on and so forth. So I hope this helped. So one of the tools for the clarity is to reducing your overwhelming inside of your day and reducing your tolerance. You might be able to Google tools for tolerance. I will try to put it on my website. I have great tools. I just don't have the link, so bear with me. I will put it somewhere. So you're gonna have my information on that website, and I will put it for you. And you can also do goal settings. Goal settings are very good for the law of clarity. Why? Because if you put your 1 year, 2 year, 5 years, 10 years, not only professional but personal, then now you're clear on your path. You're clear on your mission. You need to define your mission. You need to define your purpose. And by defining those, now you have clarity on things. And all that clarity is going to go into later on is the law of belief. So just before we go to the law of belief, let's go into the law of personal growth. It states that to become, act, and feel as if. That's the law of personal growth. So that means that in order to become a successful practitioner, business person, parent, sport, player, person, whatever you want to be successful at, you need to act as if you're already successful. You need to act as if you're the best parent, you're the best football player. It's kind of like visualization, right? So, but it's going into the law of belief, because that one's going to take over. So here's the law of belief now. Whatever we believe with strong feeling become our reality. We are not limited by what we think, but what we can do, or what we can do, but what we think we can't. And that's part of the law of belief. We we know we could do everything, but we have a little voice that said, you can't. You don't look like Tony Robbins. You've not gone through all of the stuff that Bill Gates gone. You've not done all the stuff and that Bob Proctor and so on and so forth, right? So we have that little voice, which is part of the law of belief. And they are self-limitation. And they're not based upon reality. They're based upon the negative belief. They're based upon your past wisdom. So here's something that you need to understand with the law of belief. The law of belief is compiled into all your past existence. So when you go through life and something is going on and you don't like what's going on, or you want to go somewhere but you cannot go somewhere, or you want to date somebody but you can't, or you got hurt, or you got into a fight, or somebody harmed you, whatever that is, your brain take that negative experience, whatever that negative experience, and need to remedy to get out of negativity to be into our original feeling of love. I believe we've been created into love, which is unconditional um, by definition, and your brain wants to go into the less painful situation, which is a state of love, and that's what I believe. So if you go into a scenario where it's creating more pain than pleasure, then your brain's going to try to go in survival mode, find the tools and strategy that you experienced in the past to remedy to the situation, and it triggered a belief. Every time such and such and such happen, this is what's going on, and I need to use these tools and these tools in order to survive this situation, and all of that goes into the law of belief. And that's where the can't do, can't happen, can't have that brain is brought back from our subconscious. But you need to break that pattern. And the best way that I've learned to do this is upgrading the brain. Because at the age of 2 years old, whenever it happened and you had that bad experience, now you will react at 40 differently than when it was 2. Or if it happened at 10, now you're going to react differently if you're 60 years old than if you're 10 years old. So the concept of upgrading the brain is very easy. You just go back in time and you said, you know what, Stéphane? You did the right thing at the right time. You had the perfect tool, but now that we are 40, now that we are 50 years old, here's all the other tools and strategy that I would use to. And also, whatever happened, well, we're still alive. So if you went into the survival mode, well, obviously it worked awesome, but here's how we would do it differently. And this is how you upgrade the law of belief, and now you get better and you create a better day and you attract better things. Make sense? The next law is one of my favorite. It is I believe one of the most powerful law is the law of forgiveness. The law of forgiveness states that forgiving all others is necessary and an effective purgative for successful life. The law doesn't demand that we live the other person or situation that we don't like, the other person or situation. We just have to forgive them and let go of the mental and emotional attachment. So the best tool that I have for this, and it worked for me, I have so many stories, it's unbelievable, is what the Bible states in Matthew 18:21-35. And also, he's not a doctor, sorry. David Soon wrote a book called Escaping the Labyrinth. And in the book, he also stated the same thing as the Bible, which is, it's a simple formula. It's you need to write down with a pen and a piece of paper, right? You're going to write I, comma, Stéphane, or your name, comma, completely forgive, and now you write the other name. All right, so it's I, comma, your name, for me it's Stéphane, comma, completely forgive mom. And you're going to write that down 70 times each day for 7 days. And the total is 490. Unless you do it for 490 at first. So the first time I've learned that technique, I did it all at once. I forgive my girlfriend at the time. So I was like, I, Stéphane, completely forgive the girlfriend. And I wrote, and I had cramps and everything. When all 490 are done, or the 7 days is done, you burn it. Why? Because it's done. You're already forgiven. Just let it go. So I did the girlfriend. I went home, and when I parked in the garage, the next step I had was a barbecue. So I put it there, burn it, and I went inside. Cook, eat, discuss, and now we went to bed. And now she was mad about something, and she was very frustrated, and she was yelling at me. And then while she was yelling at me, I was sitting there and said, oh, I feel different. I'm not angry. I would have yapped at her, I would have yelled at her, but I am not. And now suddenly I just said, you know what? I would have been mad too, because whatever you're accusing me and talking about, I would have taken personally, but why don't we try to resolve that situation together? And she calmed down, and we had a great conversation. So here's some people that you may want to forgive. Uh, First, the most important is yourself. So I, Stéphane, completely forgive me. You need to forgive yourself because you've been thinking wrong thoughts and wrong emotion about people, events, and situation for a long time, right? So if you've not been practicing the law of forgiveness, well, that will be the first one. Mom, dad, siblings, past girlfriend, past boyfriend, a past relationship, also your birth team. Why? Because when we are born, we don't have the visual capacity, we don't have a dictionary of words, so whatever we're hearing and feeling, we really don't know. But words and emotion were taking place, and since quantum physics state that the emotion and the thoughts and mental thoughts are also energy, but our body kind of absorbed it. So if we forgive those doctors and nurse as a birth team, and we also forgive our teachers and the schools and so on and so forth, well, then those imprint of emotion and thoughts of other people will then be released. That is my favorite exercise to do, and I really hope that you will do it also. Um, Next one, the law of gratitude. The law of gratitude simply states that when you are in a moment of gratitude, it means it is done. It's already happened. So if you're in gratitude because you have money, you're in gratitude because you're healthy, it already been happening. That's the beauty of the law. Also, which is, and it work with the law of the universe and reciprocity all together. What I really love about that law is, if I can bring back forth Dr. Dispenza, he did a study of 120 participants in his seminar, and they measured the stress molecule called cortisol and what it does to a gratitude. And what they found is that 5 to 7 minutes of gratitude a day will increase your gut fighters immune system for about 5 hours. Think about it. If you have food sensitivity, if you're celiac, if you have gut issue, stomach, pancreas, liver, intestine, whatever that is, and now you do a gratitude exercise for 5 to 7 minutes, it will raise the immunity inside of your gut for 5 hours. So that means that now the allergy is going to be tempered. That means that the immune trigger is going to be tempered. And since you have all the nutrient absorption in your gut that goes to your brain, that goes to your body, well, then you're going to be able to absorb it even better. You see how that could be very easy? And how do you do it? Well, that is the easiest. What I like is to go outside early in the morning. I bring my coffee with me, and I sit and I start with me first. I'm grateful for my eyes because now I can see all the trees and the birds and the grass that is green. And I'm grateful for my ears because I'm able to hear the birds, and and hear the wind. Oh, the wind! I'm grateful for my skin because I can feel the wind in my hair. I can feel the wind and how gentle it is, and it's not, and it is. And also my skin, I can feel the sun, and I'm grateful for my lips and my mouth and my tongue because I can taste my coffee. I'm grateful for my body and my hands because I can grab the coffee, and so on and so forth. So you get the logistic on how to be grateful for the body. But then you're being grateful for your house. You're grateful for your phone because now you can call XYZ. You're grateful for my kids because they always make me laugh and they make me learn every day. Grateful for my patient, grateful for my practitioner, and so on and so forth. And just by going through a 5 to 7 minutes, now you feel the joy inside, and you already feel a shift in how much better you already are. Those are easy tools, so you can do that. Next law, and we're almost over, is the law of compassion. And the law of compassion, this law is simply state that compassion will bring coherence, which is harmony from the heart to the brain and the brain to the heart. That means that your thoughts and your emotion become in sync together when you are in compassion. And compassion is to have an understanding. And the best tool for this one is to put yourself in someone else's shoes. That's the best one. And I learned that from Dr. John Demartini. And he has an exercise in his breakthrough series, which is what you do is you just pick somebody in your life. And now you go through and you're trying to imagine yourself into their day, into their shoes, and why they're saying this, and what it's going to, what could be going through feeling wise and mental wise. And what happens is you have a sense of understanding of that person. So if they're always yelling at you and you put yourself into their shoes, you might have an understanding of what's going on. And now you can bring the love belief into it because now you believe that it was always your fault, but it's not. It's never your fault when somebody's mad at you anyway. And now you become empowered. So I hope you enjoyed this Win Inspiration talk that I gave you. This is Dr. Awesome, or also known as Dr. Stéphane. And have a great day. Thank you.